Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's a national news broadcast on ChannelEye Rupavahini Corporation. My name is Siobhan Pereira.
And I'm Dilanjali Ananda, and these are the headlines for tonight.
Construction of the Kadawatha-Mirigama segment of the Central Expressway commenced. Ceylon Electricity Board functioning normally, power supply not affected. The President stresses that a crisis situation where people died in queues in the past shall not be repeated. Malwatu and Askiri Mahanayaka Theras expressed displeasure regarding derogatory propaganda of Devadan Nilame's post. Court grants permission to interrogate Sampath Manamperi while in detention. Joint water supply project of Gampaha, Attanagalla and Minuangoda to be handed over to the public tomorrow. The captivating 10 hairpin bends of the island. Allegations of genocide in Gaza by Israel.
Now in your local news, the construction work of the stretch from Kadawatha to Mirigama of the Central Expressway recommenced today under the leadership of the President, that is Andrew Kumar Dissanayake. Under this project, construction of the first 500-meter stretch of the expressway and the Kadawatha interchange commenced today. A sum of 8.6 billion rupees has been earmarked for this project, and the construction of this section was stalled in the middle of 2022 as the loan facilities were suspended for this purpose due to the economic crisis. Now, the government of China has also provided a loan for this project, which is due to be completed by September 2028. The distance between Kadawatha and Mirigama is 37 kilometers on the Central Expressway. The inaugural function was attended by religious leaders, Minister Bimal Ratnaik and parliamentarians, along with Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Zhi Shanghong. Minister Bimal Ratnaik pointed out that two projects are being commenced today, and one of them is the construction of the 500-meter stretch which connects Kadawatha to Mirigama section to the Kandy Highway. It is expected to complete the project by December 2026. The other 37-kilometer segment from Kadawatha to Mirigama will be completed before the Sinhala and Tamil New Year of 2028. The segment from Pothuhera to Rambukkana will be extended and completed as part of the expressway. It is also expected that the approval will be granted during this year for the construction of the expressway from Rambukkana to Galagedara. It has also been agreed at the discussion held with the President to take initial steps for the construction up to Ingiriya in the Ruwanpura Expressway and to start construction as soon as possible.
අතිවේගී මාර්ගය ඉදිකිරීම කටයුතු පටන් ගන්න. ඊළඟට අපි ළඟදී ජනාධිපතිතුමා සමග කරපු සාකච්ඡාවේ රැකගතාවකට පැමිණියා රුවන්පුර අතිවේගී මාර්ගය. ඒක නතර කරලා තිබුණේ. අපි දැනට අපිට අවසර ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා ආණ්ඩුවෙන් රුවන්පුර අතිවේගී මාර්ගය අපි ඉංගිරිය දක්වා ඉදිකිරීම කටයුතු ඊට දාලා කරන මූලික දේවල් අපි පටන් ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඊටම ඉක්මනින්. එක පැත්තකින් තිබුණේ අපේ රටේ අබ්බගාත ආර්ථික සංවර්ධන උපාය.
President Andrew Kumar Dissanayake said that a country typically loses a decade following an economic collapse, but emphasized that at present the government is committed to reversing the situation in less than a decade, perhaps even half that time. Highlighting the expressway construction launched today as a landmark step, the President urged all those involved to complete the project on schedule without even a single day's delay and to deliver it as a contribution to the nation. The President further pointed out that economic development cannot be limited to infrastructure development alone and stressed that the government is pursuing multiple approaches to ensure economic and social stability in the country. In this regard, the President noted that the progress has been achieved in strengthening the rule of law by bringing everyone under its authority, curbing organized crime and drug trafficking, eliminating bribery and corruption entrenched in political authority, and introducing salary increases and better facilities to build a modern public service. Addressing the gathering, President Andrew Kumar Dissanayake added that particularly the government knows that a few years ago our country faced a severe economic crisis. As a result, both the entire economy and the people's livelihoods collapsed. Following such an economic collapse, the 2025 budget has been prepared with the specific objective of bringing this crisis to an end. This lost decade generates long-term challenges, and this section of the expressway can be seen as a symbol of that. The scale and direction of the crisis caused by the economic collapse can be understood through projects of this nature. During his visit to China in January, he requested President Xi Jinping's support to restart these projects in Sri Lanka that had been suspended under Chinese assistance. The President paid special attention to this matter and agreed to provide this necessary support to recommence all such projects, for which we are deeply grateful. The government also requested a special concessional loan scheme for this expressway section. Sri Lanka was informed that while such a scheme was not available in US dollars, it could be provided in yuan. Accordingly, the Export-Import Bank of China expressed its willingness to extend the loan at an interest rate of between 2.5% to 3.5%. The government extended its sincere gratitude for this support. As a nation, we must have a serious discussion on how to revive our economy. When talking about revitalizing the economy, the country must also examine how this crisis emerged. The social tragedy brought about by the 2022-2023 economic crisis did not occur spontaneously. There were numerous factors and causes linked to it. Our generation witnessed the collapse of the economy. The country saw people dying in queues and experienced the breakdown of the social fabric. Sri Lanka became heirs to this tragedy. Today, the President assured that we are committed to rebuilding Sri Lanka in such a way that such a crisis will never reoccur. For that, infrastructure development alone is not sufficient. In the past, economic development efforts were focused solely on infrastructure, but infrastructure is only one component of establishing a stable economy and society. If that component stands alone, it becomes distorted. This is why our country has pursued a distorted development strategy. Economic and social stability cannot be built merely through construction. A number of other dimensions must also be fulfilled. Therefore, the present government is working to create economic stability through multiple approaches. Infrastructure is one part of this, but there are many other equally important elements. The rule of law must be firmly established. We are reaffirming that principle that all citizens must be equal before the law. The stable state can only be built when everyone submits to the authority of the law. The decline of our political culture has allowed armed criminal gangs to flourish, turning our nation into a victim of their influence. These groups created a shadow state supported by political power and protected by elements within law enforcement. The government is determined to dismantle this underworld once and for all. Without doing so, it will be impossible to secure economic stability or ensure a safe future for our children. Those currently under arrest have been responsible for nearly 50% of the drug trafficking in our country and maintain links with almost 75% of the armed criminal gangs. They have also channeled illicit funds into political authorities through various methods. We are now taking decisive action to eradicate these criminal networks and restore rule of law. Widespread bribery, corruption and fraud within the political establishment have long stood as major obstacles to development, creating instability across society. Today, however, the government has established a political culture that neither steals nor wastes a single cent of the people's money. The government has also identified certain individuals and areas within the state apparatus that's remained tied to outdated and corrupt practices. We have made it clear that such individuals have the opportunity to adapt to this new political culture. If they cannot, they are free to leave, or we will remove them. What our nation needs is a public service that respects every rupee of the people's money and safeguards it as responsibly as corporate property. To achieve this, we are providing better facilities for public servants, including significant salary increases. In fact, the largest portion of our budget is allocated to these salary adjustments. A total of rupees 110 billion has been set aside for the enhanced salaries in 2026 alone, while 2027 we will invest rupees 330 billion solely for this purpose. Through these measures, the government is fully committed to modernizing the public service and ensuring it becomes a professional, accountable and efficient pillar of our nation. Today, our country made significant progress across every sector. For the first time in Sri Lanka's history, this year we are recording a budget deficit that is lower than the figure initially projected in the national budget. Traditionally, Sri Lanka has never met its revenue targets, and successive governments resorted to repeated supplementary allocations throughout the year. The government has put an end to that practice instead and systematically working towards clear economic targets. As a result, Sri Lanka is now approaching 2 consecutive years of maintaining an economic growth rate of nearly 5%. Today, the country has achieved significant stability in the value of the dollar. Our goal is to increase foreign reserve to $7 billion by the end of this year. We have successfully brought bank interest rates down to single digits, creating a more favorable environment for growth. As a result, the banking system is now channeling substantial funds into private investment, giving fresh momentum to economic activity. We have also succeeded in attracting $1 billion in direct investment during the government's first year. In the port city alone, 4 projects valued at $1.4 billion have already been approved, while another major project worth $1.2 billion is 90% complete in its approval process, which we expect to finalize during the upcoming visit to Japan. Furthermore, this year is set to record the highest growth in the tourism sector, exporting earnings and foreign remittances. In this way, a previously collapsed state is being rebuilt into an economy with a stable foundation. This year marks a historic turning point in Sri Lanka, where the economy, social life, political culture and the rule of law have all undergone significant transformation. The road network plays a critical role in national development. The economic collapse was in part caused by corruption that left key portions of the expressway incomplete. The government is now rectifying this and ensuring completion. Similarly, the country is committed to providing the public safe drinking water, efficient public services and reliable electricity through targeted projects. We are advancing steadily on this journey. Political unrest and distractions elsewhere do not deter us. Rather than maintaining a degraded political culture, the government is creating a modern, developed political culture. For sustainable development, the progress of both political authorities and citizens is essential. Consequently, the government has undertaken the challenge of transforming Sri Lanka into a developed nation, positioning it among the most advanced countries in the world. The President expressed his sincere gratitude to everyone who has dedicated themselves to ensuring the success of this project. As government, it will provide every possible support, and President urged everyone involved to continue their efforts with determination, completing this project efficiently and delivering it to the nation without a single day of delay.
Employees of the Ceylon Electricity Board say that services of the board are being rendered as usual. Meanwhile, people say that they have power supply without any interruption. The services of the CEB Deputy General Manager's office in the North Central Province were available as usual. Employees of the Battaramula Regional Engineering Office had reported for duty as usual. People of the area said they had uninterrupted power supply today. People said that they had no obstruction in their household affairs as no power cut at present. Meanwhile, the Ceylon Electricity Workers Union conducted a media briefing today. Treasurer of the Ceylon Electricity Employees Union, Dilan Shintakatikorla, said that during the President Ranil's period, Minister Kanchana had started the project to restructure the electricity board. Their aim was to evict the employees of the board. The current process is not a restructuring move. During the past period, unions fought together and about 60 employees were dismissed. There is a question why the CEB employees did not oppose the new act during Ranil's period. The government always stands by the general public. This restructuring process is essential at this juncture. It will help to stop corruption in the board and to pass the benefits to the general public. President Kumara Dissanayake emphasized that Sri Lanka will prevent the recurrence of the situation that resulted in fatalities while people were waiting for fuel and gas. The president made these remarks today at the commencement of the construction work on 6 additional oil storage tanks at the Kolonnawa Petroleum Storage Complex. A sum of 3.7 billion rupees will be spent to construct 6 new oil tanks within the Kolonnawa Petroleum Storage Complex. Once completed, the new facility will include 3 tanks with a capacity of 15,000 cubic meters each, 2 7,000 cubic meters tanks and 1 5,000 cubic meters tank. Minister of Power Kumara Jayakudi and several others joined the occasion, highlighting that the government is working to establish economic sovereignty by safeguarding energy security. The president called upon the people for the support in this progressive transformation. President Kumara Dissanayake said that the government has the responsibility to meet the energy needs of the people and the government is committed to fulfilling that duty. If any trade union obstructs the program being implemented by the government, it will not hesitate to take the necessary decisions. No institution can move forward with outdated traditions alone, nor can it progress only with human labor. To move forward, technology and science must be integrated. An institution that fears technology or science cannot develop, nor can the country be afraid of innovation and advancement. Therefore, institutions must be modernized and mechanized. Mechanization does not make us mechanical beings. We remain human with feelings. That is why when institutions are modernized, we fully understand the implications for employees and provide solutions accordingly. Previously, whenever the governments changed, workers in unions affiliated with the former ruling party were pressurized to join unions affiliated with the new government. Those who belonged to other unions were not even allowed inside the premises. Employees of the Petroleum Corporation were exploited for political activities, and in history, even state employees were used to commit fraud at the polling stations. Last year, the government put an end to such a political culture. No public servant was harassed as a result. Do the people of the country really want a return to that destructive past? If so, they would not have voted for us. They would have chosen the old rulers. The government would not have received 159 seats in parliament, but some individuals will resist change. The president urged them to be ready to change, failing which the government is prepared to make decisions because we will not compromise endlessly. Do not view the progressive transformation through a narrow political lens. More than 2 decades ago, the Iranian leader himself laid the foundation stone for the modernization of the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Company, but the project was not implemented in time, adding an unnecessary burden to electricity costs. Just as the country is modernizing the Sapugaskanda refinery, the government will take steps to expand the capacity. The country is moving towards commencing petroleum exploration, for which scientists and experts have already volunteered their services. Our people often hear stories about presence of oil during election seasons. The first bottle of crude oil was shown during 1970 election. At present, the country places its trust in professionals and entrusts them with responsibility, while the government only provides the necessary facilities. The Ceylon Electricity Board has 26,000 employees under a single governing authority. Yet, when problems arise, it becomes difficult to identify the root cause, where is no clear ownership of the crisis. The law to privatize the CEB was passed before the government took office, and the country has seen its impact on energy and autonomy. It is a crime to amend that law. Is it a crime to amend that law? Is the issue that employees launched work to rule action, or that they are on sick leave? In the next 2 months, they will have to make a decision or choice. Some say the Sri Lankan have some highest electricity costs in the region. That is why we are working to reduce the cost of a unit of electricity. Earlier, the price of electricity generated from the renewable sources was high, and renewable energy was often misused. Some waterfalls were sold through the obtaining of licenses with the assistance of politicians, even though many those license holders had no knowledge of electricity generation. Before the government came to power, a wind power plant was generated or granted on the certain land in the north at $0.08 per unit. The government allocated the same land and wind resources to the company that now produces electricity at $1.04 per unit, effectively reducing the cost of generating 1 unit of electricity by 50%. Work has also begun on a 100 megawatt solar power plant in Simalandua, the first project of such scale in the country. The government has no personal connections with these businessmen. They are not our friends. Our priority is to implement projects that truly benefit the country. Kerawalapitia began as a diesel power plant, but power sector experts recommended converting it into an LNG power plant. If this conversion had taken place, the cost of producing a unit of electricity could have been reduced by 50%. However, during the 2015 to 2019 government, the conflict between the President and the Prime Minister over which company would be granted Kerawalapitia prevented this conversation. As a result, the plant has still not been converted into an LNG facility, and consumers continue to face high electricity bills. In the future, the government plans to modernize and utilize the 24 government-owned oil tanks in Trincomalee, and also aims to finalize the relevant agreements on schedule. Over the past 8 months, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has earned a profit of 18.2 billion rupees. However, the CPC is not the only supplier of fuel to consumers in Sri Lanka, so this profit cannot be distributed directly to the people. Therefore, the government is taking steps to channel these earnings indirectly for the benefit of the public through education and health initiatives. The government has decided to close 33 government institutions that do not provide services to the people. Some of these institutions lease their land and use the income to pay employees' salaries. Does the country need such institutions? By 2027, 330 billion rupees will be allocated for salary increases in government services, but will the people truly benefit? This is something we must consider. Government institutions have rest houses that should be put to commercial use and developed as sources of income. Some politicians and former presidents have lived in government houses for 31 years. We are changing that. The government is working to make the country more civilized and have ended the era of defying rulers. The government does not claim to know everything, and all those with knowledge must be allowed to speak. Remaining silent is a disservice. Scholars and experts in their fields should share their ideas. By listening to them, we can advance the journey of building the country. Ours is a government connected to the people, and we will not allow a crisis like the one in 2022 when people suffered and even died waiting in oil and gas queues to happen again.
And now in more local news, Mahanayaka theatres of the Malwath and Askiri chapters have raised their concerns over the defamatory dialogues conducted by some factors regarding the Devarnanileme post and the damage caused to the dignity of Buddhist society by such activities. Now issuing a communique, these two Mahanayaka theatres state that they vehemently condemn these baseless hate speeches. Appointing the Devarnanilame, the lay custodian of the sacred tooth relic, is a venerated act by Buddhists world over. It is conducted through an election in every 10 years. It is conducted under the provision of Buddhist Temporalities Act No. 19 of 1951. The time duration of the office of the current Devarnanilame has expired at present, and the process to elect a new Devarnanilame is now underway. It is reported that several candidates, including the current Devarnanilame, have fielded nominations for the election. Some organizations and individuals are spreading false information regarding the lay custodians, including the present Devarnanilame, related to traditional Buddhist places of worship and ancient customs. Such activities lead to spread of negative and hate attitudes towards ancient Buddhist traditions, which may cause unnecessary dialogues harmful to the national unity and societal integrity. The Mahanayaka theatres point out that this situation may also cause negative influence to good images of Sri Lankan Buddhists. The theatres also stress that all candidates should be committed to behaving respectfully, ensuring the dignity of Buddhist portfolios related to the sacred temple of Tooth and Devalayas and other places of worship.
Walasmala Magistrates Court has ordered the police to detain and question Sampath Manamperi, the suspect of the incident of discovering chemicals used to produce ice narcotics from a home garden in Middani area. Sampath Manamperi was produced before the Walasmala Magistrates Court today. Then the magistrate Malsha Kudituaku ordered the suspect to be detained at the Police Narcotics Bureau until the 24th of this month for questioning. The organized criminals Tamil Lahiru and Bako Saman were also produced before the Walasmala Magistrates Court today. They were brought to the court under tight security from the Western North Crime Investigation Division in Paliagoda. Then the magistrate ordered the suspect to be produced before court on the 3rd of December following the end of detaining orders.
The joint water supply scheme of Gampaha, Attanagala and Minuwangoda will be dedicated to the general public tomorrow. The main objective of this water supply scheme is to fulfill the drinking water needs of the section of residents of Mahara and Mirgam areas and all areas of Gampaha, Attanagala and Minuwangoda divisional secretariat divisions. The reservoir, constructed with a dam across the Basnagoda Oya, which is a tributary of Attanagala Oya, with an area more than 114 hectares and a capacity of 81,000 cubic meters of water, is being carried to the Karasnagala Water Purification Center via a one-way pump section. The Water Purification Center, with a capacity of 54,000 cubic meters, has an ultra-modern technology. A special feature has been the conducting of all operations through digital technology. The purified water is directed towards a reservoir constructed at a higher level with a capacity of 10,000 cubic meters. From there, water is distributed to target areas in water tanks established at Pasyala, Minuwangoda, Nittambu, Naivala and Balumhara areas. With the implementation of this project, 88,000 new drinking water connections will be provided, along with upgrading of about 22,000 existing connections. Water is being carried out to the target areas by a transmission pipe system of about 80 kilometers in length and a distribution pipe of about 600 kilometers. Earlier, it was planned to start this project in 2017 and to complete it by 2020. The construction activities were hampered due to the crisis environment prevailed at the time. A sum of nearly $230 million has been spent for this project, where the construction was jointly carried out by local and Chinese companies under the supervision of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. People of Gampa, Attanagal and Minuangoda, along with many other areas, faced a critical water crisis due to the gradual increase in the density of population. Permanent solutions will be provided to this problem with the dedication of the joint water supply project to the public tomorrow. A special documentary program on the joint water supply project of Gapwaha, Attanagal and Minuangoda will be telecast over the national channel at 9:30 p.m. today.
Today is the third day of the Pudarudaya Puravara 2025, the local government week. Today is also named as the Health and Sanitation Day. A dental and Ayurveda clinic is being held free of charge by the Hatton Dikoya Urban Council on the occasion of the local government week. It was led by the chairman of Hatton Dikoya Urban Council, Asok Karunaratna, where a large number of residents of the area also participated. Beautification activities of the stretch at Kego town of Colombo Kandy Main Road also parallel to Pudarudaya Puravara 2025 program. The program is jointly implemented by Kegol Urban Council, Road Development Authority, Police, Provincial Secretariat Office and Business Community. Parliamentarian Lakshman Nipnarachi led the program to clean the surroundings of Piliandala town parallel to the local government week in the morning today. This has been implemented under the guidance of Mayor of Kasbaba Urban Council, Chamara Madhumukkaluge.
Now, a pre-budget meeting on the marine goods transport supply sector was held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday under the patronage of Minister Dr. Anil Jayantha Fernando. Stakeholders related to the sector presented their proposals for their budget at this meeting. They said that they extend their utmost support for the program initiated by the President and the government to develop Sri Lanka's economy. Attention has also been focused to obtain contribution of marine industry sector for the promotion of tourism industry. They also discussed to develop the harbours that are inactive at present and use them for income generation. A large crowd, including the leading individuals of the marine sector, were present at this occasion, and a pre-budget meeting on the banking, finance and insurance sector was also held at the Presidential Secretariat today. They focused attention to extend the support of the banking sector to the government's program to achieve economic development goals. They also submitted their views and proposals in this connection. At this meeting, Minister Dr. Anil Jayantha Fernando stated that these proposals will be considered in preparing the next budget. Meanwhile, a pre-budget meeting was also held yesterday at the Presidential Secretariat with the importers of automobile and electrical equipment under the patronage of Minister Dr. Anil Jayantha Fernando. The relevant importers expressed their willingness to support the government's economic development program. They also presented several productive proposals for the next budget. The government loses a huge tax income due to the illegal import of electrical equipment. It has also caused problems in the quality of such items. The relevant importers therefore request the Minister to take immediate action against this matter. A group including President Senior Additional Secretary Kapila Janaka Bandara was present at this meeting.
The newly constructed 3-story technological faculty in the first Central College in Sri Lanka, CWW Kandangara Central College in Mathugama, was vested with the students yesterday. Minister of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, graced the occasion as the chief guest. Financial assistance for this project was granted by the Minister of Education and Higher Education. Development activities of Iriya Gahadola Delgahabad Road in Ambalangoda commenced yesterday. Under the Way to Resonance project, a sum of 26.4 million rupees has been allocated for this purpose. 2 kilometers stretch of the road will be developed by laying carpet. This will benefit about 450 families of the area. Deputy Minister Nalin Hevage and many others were present at the ceremony. Local food stall in Boralanda town in Valimada was declared open yesterday. Valimada Pradesh Sabha and the Regional Development Assistance Project has allocated 35 million rupees for this task. The aim of the shop is to provide nutritious meals of local food to the people and foreign tourists who travel to Hapatale and Nuwara via Boralanda. Chairman of the Valimada Pradesh Sabha, Ajit Kumar Disanaika, and many others were present at the opening ceremony. Now, Sri Lanka is a beautiful island with admirable natural environment located in the Indian Ocean. It is full of forests, cascading waterfalls and fauna and flora belonging to numerous climatic environmental systems. The road running through such beautiful environmental zones add marvel to the natural beauty of Sri Lanka. This is about such a road, groomed with 10 hairpin bends. The A17 road connects the Galle district in the southern province with the Ratnapura district in the Sabaragamu province. It starts from Galle and runs via Deniyaya, Suryakanda, Rakwana and Madampe, covering a stretch of 145 kilometers. The significant feature of this road is the 10 hairpin bends situated in a stretch of 25 kilometers from the Madampe town. This road has a rich history and a high significance of environmental value with biodiversity. This was just a footpath by the end of the 19th century. British colonial rulers wanted to develop this route for their transport needs. A female British engineer named Lodejala was entrusted with this road development project, and she had managed to upgrade this footpath up to a level of cart road. It is reported that labourers brought from the African continent had engaged in the construction work of this road with steep slopes. The segment of this road where the 10 hairpin bends are located is always covered in fog and has a chilly climate. The area constantly experiences torrential rains due to high humidity of the environment. During the rainy season, many cascading waterfalls are visible either side of the road, adding picturesque scenes to those who pass by. There are beautiful tea cultivations, greenery and mountains in the either sides of the road. Tourists who travel alone this marvelous road are able to experience numerous climatic changes with a period of less than 1 hour. According to legends, this road is considered as the route that connected the southern part of the island with the kingdoms in Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa during the ancient history. The storage of explosives that was used to blast granite during the construction is still visible at the Suryakanda area. The major archaeological monument in this road is the Black Bridge in Rakwana. There are archaeological signs that gallows attached to the Ratnapura prison had been located beside this road near Rakwana. During the period of Sir John Kotalavala as the Minister of Highways, this road was renovated. There is a tower named after Minister Kotalavala at a place where the two construction groups from Rakwana and Deniyaya met together while proceeding in their construction work. The 18-kilometer stretch of the road is now being constructed at a cost of 6 billion rupees. This is definitely an eye-catching road that attracts both local and foreign tourists, and only second to the popular 18 hairpin bends road between Kandy and Mahianganea. We'll be back with international news after this break.
தம்பி, நீங்க இதை செய்துட்டு வாங்க.
சைக்கிள் நின்று போச்சு தானே?
ஆனா வாழ்க்கை நின்று போக விட முடியாது தானே. நேரத்துக்கு பாலை கொண்டு போய் சேர்த்துடணும்.
இருக்கு, நான் கொண்டு போய் விடுறேன்.
என்ன பத்தி எதுவுமே தெரியாம கூப்பிடுறீங்க?
உங்களை பத்தி தெரியாட்டலும் உங்க கஷ்டத்தை என்னால புரிஞ்சுக்க முடியுது.
நாம் ஒருவரையொருவர் புரிந்து கொள்ளக்கூடிய சந்தர்ப்பங்கள் பலவற்றை அன்றாடம் கடந்து செல்கிறோம். கமர்ஷியல் கிரெடிட்.
And we're back with your international news. The United Nations accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza. Now, a United Nations Commission of Inquiry says Israel's military campaign meets most of the acts defined under international law as genocide. Israel has strongly rejected these allegations. In a new report, the Commission says there are reasonable grounds to conclude that Israel has carried out 4 of the 5 genocidal acts since the Gaza war began in October 2023. These include killing Palestinians, causing serious harm, inflicting life-threatening conditions, and preventing births. The report cites settlements and statements by Israeli leaders and the conduct of Israeli forces as evidence of intent. Israel's foreign ministry dismissed these findings. Vice captain of Sri Lanka's women's cricket team Anushka Sanjeevani says that she is happy that several matches of the Women's One-Day International World Cup are being played in Sri Lanka.
She made this observation at a media briefing held yesterday to introduce the sponsors of Sri Lanka women's cricket team for the Women's World Cup cricket tournament. Vice captain of Sri Lanka women's cricket team Anushka Sanjeevani said that it is a great advantage for the team to play in front of the Sri Lankan crowd since we have played several tournaments on our turf wickets. The Women's World Cup has been won by Australia 7 times, England 4 times and New Zealand once. No Asian country has won the women's title so far. We have a challenge and are also in a better mental state and preparation to face the World Cup tournament.
ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ අපිට අභියෝගයක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් මම හිතනවා අපි හොඳ සූදානමක ඉන්නවා, හොඳ මානසික මට්ටමක ඉන්නවා මේ ලෝක කුසලානට හොඳින් මුහුණ දෙන්න.
The Women's One-Day International World Cup cricket tournament will be played in India and Sri Lanka from the 30th of this month to the 3rd of November. The handing over of sponsors' checks of the participating Sri Lankan women's team was held yesterday. The blue-collared jersey of Sri Lankan players for matches and practices was also launched.
And that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I've been Siobhan Pereira together with Dulanjali Ananda. Wish you a pleasant evening and a great week ahead.